Chase in Cedar City, Utah. Let me start off by saying that sounds beautiful. See more better with freeprescriptionlenses.com. A little less beautiful. I want to thank you for your patience while it took time for your frame to come in. It is the RayBan 8901 color 5252 in the 53 eye size. Look, you got the injected man optical. I like that. Yo, let's get injected. So, take everything else. That checkerboard case tells me one thing. It's part of the carbon fiber series. You get the hard shell Italian case. Your checkerboard cleaning cloth. Maybe you can't see that on there, but it is there. Trust me, y'all. And the star of the show, the main attraction, comes with a little plastic sleeve on the temple to protect the temples from rubbing together during shipping. And I'm going to put that on there when I ship to you. And of course, this is going to be very hard to see, but it is the RayBan 8901 color 5262. Did I write that down? Oh, 5262. I said it wrong. And the 53 eye size. So let me begin. Well, actually, this is a matte blue carbon fiber temples with the blue camo on the inside, as they call that. RayBan camo, textured camo. But let me pop out the original demo lenses, one of which it says a RayBan on there. Pop that out. Put the frame into the tracing element of my blocker. Hey, you're lucky number 13. 13. Program the shape into the computer, so years from now, should you ever need new lenses for your frame, I can pull this one up and do that. My wife was born on the 13th, and so that's her lucky number. She likes 13s. I'm gonna hit the green arrow, which is start the door. Excuse me. The clamp shuts, and the lens is going to be traced by a little stylus on the inside, going around the inside bevel of the right side of the frame, before doing the same thing on the left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed in quality. You buy a genuine, authentic RayBan frame and you'll receive one free pair of clear single vision prescription lenses or non-prescription fashion lenses. My receipt has my federal ID tax number, so if you have vision insurance or health savings account flex dollars, you will get reimbursed for this purchase, whether they are prescription or not. So that is the shape I'll be cutting. I'm going to move on to the next screen. Your pupillary distance is 64, 32 for each eye. The computer starts at 32.5, so I'm going to tap the minus button one time. Let me raise up the optical center height. Let's put that at 19. Take your lenses, come in here, minus a quarter, minus 50 at 165, minus a quarter, minus 50 at 165. Put the power drum on 0. Make sure everything is zeroed out. It is. Put the power drum on minus a quarter. Take the lens out of the protective sleeve. Put the lens in, rotate until the spherical component comes into view. Find the optical center. Check your astigmatism correction. Everything looks good there. You'll line up 3 dots on your lenses. Dagnabbit. Come on, ink. Let's try this ink. Come on. Come on, work with me. Don't you know people are watching? And look at that. I got some ink on my little pad there. Let me clean that off. Of course, it's just going to get on your lens and then it'll come off in the machine. But put the lens back in, find the optical center. I didn't have to look very far. I found it. And put the 3 dots on there. Mark that one as R for right. Do the same thing now for the left, which is only a minus 50 sphere. So in theory, I could get by using just 1 dot in the center. It doesn't matter how the lens is oriented in there. You only have a spherical component. Put the power drum on minus 50 so I can see what I'm doing. Find the center of the lens. Let me see if I can just get by with doing 1 dot. It's still on there. So these are this is the left lens. Let me mark this one L. Now if you guys missed any of that, let me recap. Check one other thing. Yeah, we're good to go. Okay, so where am I at? Oh yeah, this is a block, or as I like to call them, Jenny from the block. I need to attach this to your lens while it is cutting. So I need 2 double-sided adhesive stickers. The black side is the sticky side. Excuse me, I just had some wasabi with my sushi. It's clearing out my sinuses. Stick that on there, pull the paper away to make the black side sticky. On the back is a silver button. That is going to do its job twice. The first time it's going to attach itself to another magnet there in the arm. The reason why I put those 3 dots on there, it tells me that it's oriented and they're just perfectly. We're going to get everything lined up just right. Check one thing, the lens is large enough to go in there. Hit this button, the arm's going to come down and place the block onto the right lens. We're going to do the same thing now for the lens that ain't right. Put that one on there. Pull the paperweight, line up the magnet. Same PD on the left lens, 32 as it was on the right. Same optical center height. I want to mark that I'm cutting this at 19. Get everything lined up. And boom, hit the button. The arm's going to come down, place the block onto the left lens. Now the lens goes into the $40,000 edger. This wheel on the left is a excuse me, is the heavy grit grinding wheel. It's a diamond crusted wheel. This wheel that'll cut it down to the vinyl size. This wheel in the center is going to put the V-shaped bevel on the lens so it stays inside the bevel of the frame. I'm going to wake the computer up. 1313, that's the shape that we'll be cutting. I'm not going to polish the edges of the lens. I'm not going to put a safety bevel on the front convex surface of the lens. I'm only going to put a safety bevel on the rear concave surface of the lens. Press the sticker on there. Now the magnet's going to line up to another magnet there in the chuck. Hit the green arrow. Look how clean that door is. I just cleaned it. The door closes, the clamp shuts. The lens is going to be traced by 2 white styluses, making sure that it's large enough to fit into the frame. You can see as it's going around tracing the shape of the lens. And the old carpenter saying measure twice, cut once is measuring the thickness of the lens at every point to know exactly and precisely where to place the bevel, so you have the least amount of edge thickness showing, of which with your prescription in this frame you'll have none. But it's just a routine procedure that it does. I do cut very strong prescriptions all day long for free. And that does become a little bit more critical where to move the bevel for the least amount of thickness that is shown. And again, you ain't going to have none of that, so don't you worry. Now the lens is coming down onto the cutting wheel. Your lenses are made out of polycarbonate, which is 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. They're virtually unbreakable. These are high-impact ballistics grade lenses. The same lens material that our soldiers wear overseas in combat zones to protect their eyes from shrapnel and flying debris. It also has 100% UVA and UVB protection built into the lens. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin. Your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin. So this is permanent sunscreen, unlike the lotions, creams, and sprays that you need to reapply every couple hours when you're in direct exposure to the sun there in Cedar City, Utah. This is permanent and never needs to be reapplied. Now if you notice, you have your lens is completely flat around the edges, just like a nickel. If I were to take it out now, it would stand up on the counter on its own. The machine is doing a second check and balance system to see where to place the bevel as it goes around and traces the outline of the lens. Now the anti-glare coating that you got is 3 features in one. The first feature is that it eliminates glare when driving at night, particularly driving at night in the rain. But from street lights, stoplights, computer screens, overhead fluorescent lights and such. The second feature is a reflection. It reduces, they call it reflection free. It reduces reflection, so when someone's looking at you, they're not looking at their reflection in your glasses, so it makes for much better eye contact. Plus, if someone takes a picture with a flash, or if you take a selfie, you're less likely to see the reflection of the camera in the lens. That is reduced. Now the third feature that I like, which is the practical side, is it comes with the industry's hardest scratch coating. The machine that applies the anti-glare takes over 24 hours to vaporize 8 different coatings onto the lens. Your lens has to come out in between each coating, be sterilized, cleaned, dried, and prepped, and that's why it takes over 24 hours to apply that coating. And because of the time and the expense, they put the industry's hardest scratch coating on there to protect your time and investment. So water has sprayed onto the lens, which tells me it's in the last 20 seconds. It's actually getting the safety bevel applied to the rear surface of the lens now. In just a moment, I will open this door with my mind. I can do other things with my mind. I can melt ice with my mind. I can. It just takes me a couple hours, but I can do it. Run around, dry all of that off. Let's see if it fits first time around. Take your frame, tuck the lens in at the outside corner, pressing down with my thumbs. It snaps right in. We're going to come down here to flip that over to L. Line up the magnet with another magnet there in the Chuck, the Charles, the Chucky baby. The door closes, the clamp shuts, and just like before, the lens is going to be traced by the two white styluses. First of all, making sure it's large enough to fit into the frame. But then measure, as you can see as it's going around, checking that. And the old carpenter saying measure twice, cut once is measuring the thickness of the lens to know where to place the bevel so you have the least amount of edge thickness. Look at that. Chase, you got none. No edge thickness whatsoever. That popped off. Dry that off. Put the sticker on there. Come down here to my lensometer. I don't even have to turn the axis wheel. It's still on 165 because I did not need to change it for the left. Put it in. Check the power, and I am getting minus a quarter. One tick mark away from 0. That's because the unit of measurement we use in the optical world is called a diopter, spelled D-I-O-P-T-E-R. You're on the first rung of a ladder. You are nearsighted, the smallest amount of nearsighted you can have in your right eye. Your lens is minified. That's why there's a minus sign. Once, with your glasses off, everything is much too large, so it minifies one step. Once it's the correct size, you have 2 steps of astigmatism correction. Uncorrected astigmatism makes 6s and 8s look alike, or the letters P and F. So think of it as the fine-tune knob, and we're going to turn that fine-tune knob to 165. A straight line is 0 to 90 to 180. We're going to turn that fine-tune knob to 165. Now your left eye needs 2 steps of far-sighted correction, but no astigmatism correction. But let me check the second curve. You have 2 curves on your eye, spherical curve and a cylinder, the astigmatic curve. One curve this way, a second curve 90 degrees apart, and that's how we rotate that lens. Let me check the second curve. And we're at minus 75. 1 tick mark away from 1. That's because if someone had borrowed 25 cents from you, then they borrowed another 50 cents, they would owe you 75 cents. That's where we're at. Your left eye, only minus 50 sphere. No astigmatism correction. Now the RayBan 8901 sells for $220 because of the carbon fiber temples. You got the house anti-glare for $44.99 for a total of $264.99. Again, I thank you for patience. The Luxottica site. Luxottica is the parent company of RayBan. There's a website that all authorized dealers order from. When I placed the order, it said the frame was in stock. It would ship in 3 to 5 days. It took longer than that. I do apologize. I called up to Luxottica to complain, but the problem is with the billion-dollar Italian company, I told them something was wrong on their website. They told me, forget about it. So, this little peon couldn't do nothing to speed things up while it was still coming over from the overseas warehouse. So water has sprayed onto the lens, which tells me it's in the last 20 seconds. In just a moment, a lever will come into view. Cue the lever. At the end of that lever is a spinning disc, which is extremely fine grit sandpaper just to smooth out any rough surfaces left over from the cutting cycle. I put some Rain-X on the back of the door. You can see that water just beating off. I love it. So Chase, I want you to open the door with your mind this time. I like that. Hit that button. Dry the lens off. Make sure there's no optical sawdust. Make sure I can get that ink off in one piece too. Grab your left frame, tuck the lens in at the outside corner. Using my thumbs, press down the nose. It snapped off, and so did that. That's fine. Dry that off. Put the sticker on there. Come down here to that dot, put it in. And I'm getting minus 50, exactly halfway between 0 and 1. Your pupillary distance is 64. I'm going to turn the card around so you can see. Place the PD stick against my thumb on your right lens, not the inches, the millimeters. And we measure over here, we're getting 64 millimeters, so that is cut perfectly. Check the optical center height, the vertical decentration. That looks good. Now this is the portion in every video that as I clean your lenses and mention that when you get these in the mail, and of course free shipping anywhere in the US, but when you get these in the mail, there's a small chance that these could fit too loose or too tight. However, there's an 80% chance that one side is going to sit higher than the other. That's because 80% of people have one ear that is higher than the other. And I'm no different. I'm part of that 80%, and I'll show you in just a moment. But because of that statistic, 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them. So just stop by your local place and tell them if it's too loose or too tight or high on one side. It only takes about 30 seconds to a minute to adjust a pair of glasses perfectly. By the way, I send out not only a selfie request, Chase, I would love to have your picture on the website, but I also send out instructions not only how to care for your frame and your lenses, but for the premium microfiber cleaning cloth that I provide and your RayBan checkerboard carbon fiber cleaning cloth. I field test every one, so when you get this in the mail and you see the wrinkle, you know it works. But I'm going to get these in standard alignment, also known as the 3-point stance. The 3 points are 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. I set it down, press down on the counter. There is no wobble. When I say wobble, I'm part of that 80%. When I press down on mine, they wobble on the counter, but they sit level on me. So, I got to tuck that in. The band on the GoPro won't let me stick it behind my ear. Press down, there is no wobble. Close each temple to make sure they overlap perfectly, and they do, and that neither temple is askew like that. I love can y'all see that texture, that carbon fiber? Carbon fiber is extremely strong but lightweight. Now, it actually cannot be adjusted up and down, so it's a rigid form of plastic, but it comes with these rubber tips on there, so it grips really, really well. But that's it. If you've liked what you've seen, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram as freeprescriptionlenses.com. On Twitter as freerxlenses. You can, if you have any questions, what about it can and can't do, you can email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com or simply click the contact me button on the website. Better yet, you can always leave a question or comment on the comment section below. That way other people can read your question and learn from it. So again, Chase in Cedar City, Utah, thank you so much for the purchase and for your patience. When you purchase the RayBan 8901, size 53, color 5262, the matte black with the carbon fiber temples, matte blue, excuse me. And everyone else has got the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses.